So the first comic with an African-American star is listed as Dell Comics Lobo back from 1965. So in the spirit of Renaissance ending and Act 2 beginning, I'm going to get into some Western media and content.
I wish I had eyes in the back of my head. I've been working on my pride, but the rest of me cares. Every time I feel alive, it be...
So Lobo was created by Tony Tallarico, who was the artist, and Don Arneson, who was the writer. And this was a Western comic with a black hero who through doing the digging on him, I'm still left with some questions. So he is a dark-skinned black man, 65 comics. I'm going to say that he's like maybe 6'1", 6'2", fit build. He doesn't look any more fit or any less fit than any other comic character at that time. But with him, his distinct feature is that he has blue eyes. Also, he is listed as the first black Western lead of a comic, and there's a lot of controversy around his comic appearance. So Tallarico and Arneson have two different stories when it comes to this. One is that the comic was canceled after the first issue. They had only done two, and the first issue started on the second one when the first one went out, but because of racial tensions and people not wanting to read a black Western comic hero, it was shut down. That was Tallarico. But Arneson, the writer, is saying no, it's just that sales weren't it. So there's this conflict of the masses, conflicts of the minds when it comes to those two creators and this comic character. Now, the thing that has kind of messed me up or has me doing a little bit more digging, and I'm a little bit unsure, is that he presents as a dark-skinned, tall black man. But a lot of the comic history surrounding him, they say that he can exist in both worlds as a black and a white man. And it leads me to think that perhaps he is mixed race. Now, this is 1965, so of course comics weren't, or this particular comic didn't get that deep with it. Maybe it was just understood of the times. But the way I read that with my 2024 mind is that initially I thought he maybe was a monoracial black man. But looking at the Wild West and the beginning stages of the American West as we know it, that perhaps there was some mixed race heritage in there, and that may have been signified through the blue eyes. Because the way that they discussed his character made it feel like perhaps he was supposed to be a lighter skinned character. And so in my mind, I'm thinking with a limited color palette of comics in 1965, if you're touting him as the first black Western hero, to the point where they initially wanted to call him Black Lobo, but the editor was like, oh no, we're not doing that. We'll call him Lobo. I'm thinking that with the dark-skinned character next to the other white men characters that were in the comic, he's going to be visibly black. You're going to read him as black. But because they focus so much on he can exist between both worlds and the limited color palette of comics in the 60s, I assume that perhaps he was supposed to be a lighter-skinned character. Now, in present day, we do deal with a lot of whitewashing and lightening of characters, but because it's of this time, it's almost like we get the reverse. If what I'm thinking is correct, is that he's supposed to be lighter skinned, I assume that with the descriptions of him, he would have been dark enough to not be seen as white, but light enough to not be seen as black. And then with the focus of the blue eyes. So I don't know. Y'all let me know if you are interested in more history of Lobo. I do have a podcast that went live today, and I will link that as well. But yeah, getting ready for Act 2, dealing with all of that musicality of black folks in the South and the country and all that. We're going to go down this rabbit hole of black folks and Westerns and in comics. And the print on the coin was the image of a wolf and the letter L. So not only is he whooping your butt, but he is mashing a coin into your forehead with enough force to leave the mark imprinted on your face of a wolf in the letter L. Can you imagine somebody getting a quarter, putting it on your forehead, and just punching the shit out of you? You have, like, what?